This is lesson 5.4, writing a function rule for algebra. So make sure you title your paper 5.4. So writing a function rule means I'm going to write an equation that works for the table. So the first example says write a function rule for each table. So for A, I have to think, how do I get from 1 to -1? Or how do I get from 2 to 0? So when you're writing your function rule, you're going to write the f of x, or function of x, equals, and then you need to figure out what your rule is going to be. So I am going to start with x. So if I started with 1, how would I get to -1? Well, I would subtract 2. So now let's see if that works. Put in 3. Is 3, if I put in 3 here, minus 2 equal 1? Yes. Now 4. 4 minus 2 equals 2. So I know that my function is x minus 2 for my entire thing. Now, the way we did it last year, which you might remember, is you look at your x column and you see what it's going up by. Now this is going up by 1 each time. So this is changing by 1 each time also. So that means my slope equals 1. So that's right there, my 1x. And then if you remember, you go back to whatever 0 would be, and 0 here would be -2, and that is this number. That is only if it's a linear equation, though. Sometimes it won't be a linear equation, and you'll have to figure out your function rule on your own by doing like a guess and check method. So for this one, I look and see, okay, it's going up by 1 in my x column, and the side is going up by 2. So it's going 2, 4, 6, 8. So my function of x, so how do I get from 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 3 to 6, 4 to 8? So what's happening each time? Well, it's doubling. So it would be 2x. And then if I went back to 0, my also would be 0, so it would be plus 0. So my function of x equals 2x. So a carpenter buys finishing nails by the pound. Each pound of nails costs $1.19. Write a function rule to describe this relationship. So for A, if I write a function rule, this means f of x equals $1.19 times x, because it's $1.19 per pound. So if I were to buy 8 pounds, my function of 8 pounds would be $1.19 times 8. I would put in 8 for each x value. So for B, it says, how much do 12 pounds of finishing nails cost? So my function for 12 pounds would be $1.19 times 12. So then you figure that out, $1.19 times 12. And my function for 12 pounds would be $14.28. So, real-world problem solving. Suppose you borrow money from a relative to buy a lawnmower that costs $245. So you borrowed that money. You charge $18 to mow a lawn. Write a rule to describe your profit, P of n, as a function of the number of lawns mowed. Which equation best describes this situation? So, would I just write $18 times the number of lawns mowed? Would that give me my profit? Well, no, that would tell me how much I'm making, but I borrowed $245. So I have to pay that back. So I'm going to pick C, because if you look down here, the profit of n equals $18 per lawn, and then minus the cost of the mower. You have to subtract that out. So the function rule, P of n equals 18n minus 245, describes your profit as a function of the number of lawns. So try number 3. All right, suppose you buy a word processing software package for $199. You charge $15 per hour for word processing. Write a rule to describe your profit as a function of the number of hours you work. So my profit for the number of hours I work is going to be $15 per hour minus the cost of the software. Now, this just says write a rule to describe your profit. So this is it. So this is all I'd have to do. This is a function rule where I have my function at the front, P of H, equals $15 times hours minus $199. All right, that's it for your notes.